Good morning and welcome to another episode of Comics Over Coffee. Today we're going to be talking a lot about the Marvel films and their future phases and the potential for those phases as well. So far, they've been building, heavily on Thanos. Thanos as a character is definitely worth this amount of time and this amount of effort. He's also worth the amount of characters that they're putting into place to be involved in this conflict once we get the Infinity War film. So Thanos is good. But a lot of people have been curious what happens afterwards. We know that we may end up with a good handful fewer heroes after the war with Thanos. I do believe a few characters are going to die. Some mantles are going to be passed along to other characters for sure. But after that happens, what great conflict will you have? Some have even said you don't need one. You can kind of let the characters go on about their merry way and pull from their individual stories out of the comics and just keep the team ups to a minimum. But I highly doubt that that's the case. They're opening up the Marvel universe in a way that hasn't been done before as far as the visuals go, and it'd be very sad if they didn't take advantage of that. So first off, I want to mention Star-Lord. He's in the title, so of course I was going to address him at some point. And a lot of people have different theories on who Star-Lord's father could be. We know that it's not going to be the same person from the comic books. It's going to be a person that hits a little bit closer to home in some kind of way, a person that could have already been introduced. Some people said the Collector. I think that's probably the poorest theory of them all. That would be pretty anticlimactic if so, honestly. But they also, for one, in the film, they say that whoever his father is a being that they hadn't seen for a long time. So that kind of eliminates the Collector. Collector is known in that universe by just about everyone. So I'm going to go ahead and scratch that one off the list. The most impressive theory, and one that kind of is a technicality as far as having met them already, as James Gunn said. But that person is Adam Warlock. Adam Warlock is a very, very important part of the story, especially when it comes to the Infinity Gems. In the comic books, he was imprisoned inside of the Soul Gem, and when Silver Surfer and Drax were captured within it, they met Adam Warlock and they had to ask him to help. So, there's a lot more history to Warlock's character beyond that. But that's the basis of the general knowledge of his character. And he's also a big part of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Even at one point, he joins that crew. Now, they can take their liberties with this story. And, obviously they already are, because the father's not going to be who we know it to be in the comic books. So this would be a really solid way of introducing that level of power, because Adam Warlock is ridiculously powerful, and they could make it where he's very flawed, because in the comics they have kind of a darker version of Adam Warlock. If I'm not mistaken, they're actually there's another version of him, but what they could do is make it where he's kind of mentally at conflict, which would limit his powers. I know that's kind of a cop-out, but with a character like Adam Warlock, you can't just let him run wild. There are other ways they can do it, for sure. I'm not a writer for them. That's their job, so they'll probably come up with something pretty awesome. But they definitely need a character like Adam Warlock, because when Thanos comes around, there's going to be very few people that can go hand to hand with that guy, especially when he has the gems, because you're going to have Captain Marvel. You're going to have some Inhumans, if I'm not mistaken. The Hulk, to a degree. Strength-wise, he'll definitely be able to compete, but Thanos' abilities will go far beyond that with the gems. So, and Thor will definitely be one of the people that can go nearly toe-to-toe. So him, Warlock, and Captain Marvel and the Hulk will be big assets in the fight, but they definitely won't be the ones to tip the scale. Doctor Strange also, I forgot about him. He's going to be an important part of that as well. So there's that theory. There's Adam Warlock. But I'd like to present another theory. And the character that I speak of is... Actually, let me step back a little bit. The only reason I thought of this particular character is because of a story that my dad told me when I was growing up. As you know from the previous videos, my interest in comics comes from my father. And with that, him and my uncle would tell me and my cousins a whole bunch of different great stories from the Marvel Universe. And one of those stories involved a character named Michael. His first appearance was before I was even born. And I went back and read the particular issue that my dad had mentioned, but it was so old I didn't really keep track of the character, and I didn't remember his full name until recently. But this character Michael is so ridiculously powerful that at one point when he was fighting the Avengers and the Guardians of the Galaxy, he was annihilating them wave by wave, just taking them out. And he had the ability to bring them back to life. Matter of fact, that was an ability that he used multiple times throughout his early run. His full name is, and people that are currently reading the Secret Wars events actually may recognize it, but it's Michael Korvac. I threw him out there as a person that could be Star-Lord's father just because he's a cosmic being, and it would definitely tap into the whole, this is a being that we haven't seen before. Now, the hole in that theory is we have not seen that character, at least to my knowledge. Unless there's some absolutely incredible Easter egg that we missed, there hasn't been an appearance of Michael Korvac. And with Adam Warlock, we've seen the cocoon. And if you look at the shot post all the destruction in the Collector's facility, the cocoon is damaged and open, if I'm not mistaken. So even if Michael Korvac is not Star-Lord's father, he still could be the next major villain that they follow up with. Because when you go from Thanos, you have to go to something big. We got the whole Ultron thing was kind of an intermission on this whole conflict. He still played a major role, especially with introducing Vision, which I apologize. Vision is also going to be a big part of the conflict as well, especially because he has a gem on his person. So that's going to be really, really awesome. Korvac and his capabilities and his origins and everything could be really impressive to behold on film. Now, they could go where, with the original iteration of him, that basically had him combined with technology, and he kind of could analyze everything and use his powers to adjust and create defenses for whatever he encountered, because he's also a genius as well. He's a scientific genius, but he would use that genius to fight against other people. Like at one point he fights a cosmic being and loses on purpose so he can analyze how that person works, and then he comes back and completely demolishes them and then takes their power as well. So that could be something that they could touch on. They could do a much more grounded version of Korvac. As I said, this needs to be a character that's beyond Thanos' capabilities. And whoever this character is after the fact likely won't have the Infinity Gauntlet to use. I think they're going to handle that in the Infinity War and scatter those as quickly as possible. But if you are not familiar with Michael Korvac, hit the description section below. I've got a link in there to his wiki, so you can kind of read up on his history and see his most recent appearances. And he also has a run during Secret Wars right now, the Korvac saga, which I didn't even realize. I remember the character as Michael. I didn't know his last name until recently, and I drew that conclusion a couple days ago. So it's interesting to see that Korvac has made this return, and that can be the writing on the wall itself, where we have this person that hadn't been utilized very much, but now he has his own run. I haven't read it yet. I'm actually going to start reading it sometime today. But he has his own run now, and it could be a way of Marvel familiarizing everyone with him before making him a prime part of the Marvel visual universe. So, hit the comment section, check that out. Read up on Adam Warlock as well. I'll throw a link down there so you can check him out. And hit the comment section. Let me know what you think. Do you think that Korvac could be the next villain? Are there other people on your list that you think could make it? Let me know who they are. Let me know what actors you think could play them. Same for Adam Warlock. Let me know what actors you think could pull that off as well. But this has been Comics Over Coffee. I appreciate you listening. Hit the like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Adios.